Josh Allen won his first NFL MVP award, narrowly beating Lamar Jackson in a 4 first-place vote difference. Lamar Jackson was an all-pro first team, which everybody expected because it's the same exact voters that Lamar would win MVP because he was voted all-pro first team. Now, this is the first time, besides the co-MVP with Peyton Manning and Steve McNair, that the all-pro second team won MVP back to John Elway, which is pretty ridiculous. It was that far away. I think this only happened in 3 times since the merger. So we're in uncharted territory a little bit here. But Jackson had a tremendous season. I think he had over 5,000 total yards on the year, 41 total touchdowns. Josh Allen had about 4,300, I believe, 4,200 total yards. He had 28 touchdowns on the year. But the stats apparently didn't matter in this case. So here's my question to you. Do you have any problem with Josh Allen winning the MVP over Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, no, I don't. I think it was okay for Josh Allen to win the MVP. He overcame the prevailing trend to win MVP over Lamar Jackson. Allen trailed Jackson in nearly every major statistical category. Jackson had his best statistical season, superior to both his 2019 and 2023 MVP seasons. He had 4,172 passing yards, 41 TD passes, number 1 ranked offense, first player with 4,000 yards passing and 900 yards rushing in the same season. His 119.6 passer rating was 4th best in NFL history, trailing only Aaron Rodgers at 122.5 in 2011 and 121.5 in 2000, and Peyton Manning at 121.4 in 2004. Rodgers and Manning both won the MVPs in those years. Allen is the first player, as you mentioned, in 21 years to win without being selected the first team All-Pro, which went to Jackson this year. John Elway was in 1987. He won the MVP when Joe Montana was the first team All-Pro. I think the reason Allen won, and I think this is the reason that you should always pick the MVP, is because Allen accomplished more with less. He lost his top 2 receivers, Diggs and Davis, but led the Bills to the AFC East title, and also a second-best record in the AFC at 13-4, when very few people expected them to even make the playoffs. He made everyone around him better, and I think that's the key variable, the key statistic, key metric for picking an MVP.
And I think I agree with you here because, again, what are we doing it based off? Are we doing it based off stats? Or are we doing it based on who's the most valuable? Because if we take a look, Lamar Jackson actually had a very, very good argument for Offensive Player of the Year. 5,000 total yards, where he had over 40 total touchdowns. Very low, he had 4 interceptions or something like. It was a tremendous offensive season. But we have to realize that we were just in unprecedented territory just the prior year. So, for the fun of it, I do this occasionally, and I always like having fun with this. Let's do a mystery quarterback comparison between 2 MVPs here, because I always like to do this, and we'll go full screen right here. These are 2 most valuable player of the years right here. Basically, very similar records, a little bit better completion percentage on the person on the right, very similar total yards. The person on the left has more total touchdowns, fewer total turnovers. They basically have the same passer rating. These are both MVPs. Last year, Lamar Jackson. This year, Josh Allen. And what's funny is you could actually do this with a flip of this year and last year with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Very similar statistics in that regard, too. Last year's Josh Allen, the only issue you could argue is winning and turnovers. Well, we have to realize Brett Favre led the league in interceptions several times, but he had a 20 interception MVP season. There are quarterbacks. Dan Marino also had like an 18 or 16 interception season. He won MVP. So the interception factor, I don't really, unless you're obviously throwing the ball away, pick sixes all around. If you're also having a productive season outside of that, like for instance, I don't think Baker Mayfield's an MVP candidate, but he had a tremendous season nonetheless. We could take a look and say he, 16 or 18 interceptions this season, but we don't look at that because he had 4,000 yards and 40 touchdowns. And we can say that was a really good season. Maybe tone down on the turnovers a little bit. Josh Allen, though, if we're talking about it, it is value. It 100% is value because Lamar Jackson, during that 2023 MVP win, he had 7 Pro Bowlers on his team. Josh Allen in this MVP run had 2. Him and his offensive lineman. 2 on the entire 53-man roster. Meanwhile, the Ravens had 7. And also, it's this. I said
had Derrick Henry.
Correct, and I was just about to get that. For me, it's the same argument that I had with Brock Purdy last year. It's the same argument if Jalen Hurts was in for consideration this year. I would have had the exact same argument. Are we sure the running back wasn't the most valuable player on the team? Because last year, Christian McCaffrey was scoring a touchdown in basically every single game and was that offense. When his production went down, the offense's production went down. Because we take a look at the numbers of Brock Purdy in crunch time while trailing, and the numbers don't look so good. This season, Saquon Barkley was a 2,000-yard rusher, and I showed you the numbers for Jalen Hurts' playoff wins. His production dips because he's a more efficient quarterback, not one that puts up the gaudy numbers. In this case, Josh Allen was the Buffalo Bills. And if we want to add on top of that, because I think quarterback wins is a quarterback stat, what did Josh Allen do that Lamar Jackson didn't? Josh Allen took down the top 2 seeds in each conference. The Detroit Lions, Josh Allen was beating them so bad, Dan Campbell had to kick an onside kick to try to steal a possession because Josh Allen was just torching their defense up. And he also took down the Kansas City Chiefs, basically putting the game on his back with a 4th and 2 rush from 17 yards out or something like that. It was a crucial moment of the game. It sealed the game for the Buffalo Bills. So again, this is about value. We can talk about the statistics all we want. But if it really was about statistics, we'd acknowledge that last year Lamar Jackson actually had the lowest amount of passing touchdowns in NFL history for an MVP. Since the Super Bowl era, Lamar Jackson had the fewest amount of passing touchdowns in the Super Bowl era for an MVP. Josh Allen, on the other hand, was a very good quarterback last year. We can complain about his turnovers all we want, but again, Brett Favre had turnover issues. Peyton Manning had turnover issues. There are some of the all-time greats that have had double-digit interceptions, nearing 20 interceptions, and have won MVPs. So for me, that's not good enough. And not only that, this season it was a lot about gain by subtraction for Josh Allen, meaning gaining wins and losing your top 2 wide receivers. And then for Lamar Jackson, it was you got better with a running back that nearly set NFL history with a second 2,000-yard rushing season for a career. He had 1,900 yards. And on top of that, we could say that the numbers could have been significantly better for Josh Allen because he played 1 single snap in Week 18. What if he plays against the Patriots in Week 18? Who knows what would happen? His numbers would obviously be much better. So for me, if we're talking about value, this season, the value came from Josh Allen putting that team on his back, being an efficient quarterback, because it's the same argument that people gave, that including us, that we gave for Lamar Jackson last year.
Well, they would have been nowhere without him. The Bills probably wouldn't have won the division. Maybe they would have won the division. It was pretty weak this year, but
it was a very weak division.
But without him, they certainly wouldn't have gotten to the AFC Championship game. I thought he was very humble in his acceptance speech. He thanked the other finalists, including Lamar Jackson. He said they all had great seasons and all could be standing here today with you guys, and with you guys. And you guys would be deserving of it. You guys are the true stewards of the game. I look up to you. You guys, I admire you guys. I know this is a individual award, and it says most valuable player on it, but I think it's derived from team success, and I love my team. I thought that was great. He's the first player in NFL history to record at least 28 passing TDs, 12 rushing TDs, and only 6 interceptions in a year. He got a $1.5 million bonus. I'm sure he was pretty happy about that for winning it. McDermott said Josh Allen's consistent leadership was the biggest reason why we did what we did this season. His play and his leadership were the difference. And Allen thanked his family, his mother and dad, both crying in the audience. Was great. He also thanked his beautiful girlfriend.
Well, his fiance. I'll also add on top of this guy, like adding fuel to the fire. Just to add on to the Derrick Henry point, the Ravens went 3-6 when Henry didn't rush for 100 yards or more. Also had 1 win when he rushes for under 20
carries.
Under 20 carries, yeah. Or rather, he had 1. Yeah. Oh no, it's the same exact number actually. But those 2 wins, let's add some context. The New York Giants, who if they didn't, for some reason, if Drew Lock didn't have the greatest statistical game for a quarterback based on EPA, literally the best in NFL history. And also Cincinnati, where a stupid 2-point conversion call and a rookie punter botching a snap for a field goal. Who knows? That would have been maybe 0 for 9 in that case. Who knows? They wouldn't have beaten the Giants. So let's go 1 for 8. Let's at least give some posterity here. So you would have gone 1 and 8 in if Henry didn't rush for 100 yards or more. If you did have some circumstance. But if we want to go fact based, fine. You went 3 and 6. So Derrick Henry was this offense, and we could say, well, how about this? We'll do it this way. Would Lamar Jackson get to the AFC Championship game with this current Buffalo Bills roster?
No.
Would Josh Allen get to the AFC divisional game with the Baltimore Ravens roster?
Yes.
Enough said. If you're telling me he'd make it to the same point, or how about this? Let's flip the roles now. If Josh Allen was on the Ravens in the AFC divisional game against the Buffalo Bills led by Lamar Jackson, who would win that game?
I would say the Allen would win it.
So the Baltimore Ravens would make it to the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
So there you go. Enough said. If the roles were reversed, you'd be in a lesser position. Well, then it shows you who's valuable and who's not, or more valuable, I should say. Hi, everybody. Thank you for watching this clip of the Harvey Hour. If you want to watch the full show, you can by clicking the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to take the show with you on the go, it is available wherever you get your podcast. We go live here on YouTube every single Tuesday and Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, and the notification bell to get notified whenever we upload a video and whenever we go live.